What would you do if, by the age of 30, you had conquered a significant portion of the known world? Let's dive into the life of a man who did just that, Alexander the Great. His monumental conquests spanned across continents, pushing the boundaries of the known world. The scale of his achievements challenges our understanding of what it means to be great. Alexander the Great, a figure from antiquity, achieved just that, and his story is one of ambition, power, and conquest. Our story begins in 356 BC, in the city of Pella, Macedonia. Alexander, son of Philip II and Olympias, was born into a world of power and intrigue. From a young age, this future conqueror was exposed to the realities of leadership and warfare, learning the subtleties of diplomacy and the brutalities of battle. In his adolescence, Alexander's education was entrusted to none other than Aristotle, the renowned philosopher. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander was schooled in a wide range of subjects, from philosophy and politics to science and arts. This robust education played a crucial role in shaping Alexander's worldview and his approach to leadership. But it wasn't just Aristotle's teachings that prepared Alexander for his future as a conqueror. His father, Philip II, was a formidable king and a seasoned military commander. Under his tutelage, Alexander learned the art of warfare, proving himself as a capable commander when he led an army to crush a rebellion at the tender age of 16. However, Alexander's ascension to the throne was not without its complications. In 336 BC, Philip II was assassinated, thrusting the young Alexander into the spotlight. Despite facing opposition and attempts to usurp his throne, Alexander managed to consolidate his power. His early reign was marked by a series of successful military campaigns that quelled rebellions and solidified his control over the Greek city-states. With the Greek city-states under his control, Alexander set his sights on the vast Persian Empire. He was driven by an insatiable ambition to expand his kingdom and create a world empire that would eclipse all others. His early victories against the Persians were just a taste of the military genius that would earn him the title of Alexander the Great. With the Greek city-states under his control, nothing seemed to stand in Alexander's way. His ascension to the throne, his early military successes, and his ambitious plans for expansion set the stage for the epic conquests that lay ahead. This was the making of a conqueror who would forever change the course of history. Alexander's gaze turned eastward to the mighty Persian Empire. When Alexander the Great set his sights on Persia, it was the largest empire the world had ever seen, stretching from Egypt to India. But Alexander, ever the ambitious leader, was undeterred by the size and might of his adversary. His strategy was one of relentless aggression, using speed and surprise to catch his enemies off guard. The Battle of Issus, one of the key battles in his Persian campaign, is a perfect example. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander charged directly at the heart of the Persian army, aiming for King Darius III himself. In the ensuing chaos, the Persian lines collapsed and Darius was forced to flee, leaving his family behind as captives. This audacious tactic not only won him the battle, but also dealt a significant blow to the morale of the Persian forces. But the Persian campaign was not just about battles. Alexander also had to contend with the fortified cities of the Persian Empire. The siege of Tyre, an island city thought to be impregnable, is a testament to Alexander's strategic genius. He ordered the construction of a causeway to reach the city walls, a feat considered impossible at the time. After 7 long months, the city fell, demonstrating Alexander's determination and his ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Throughout his campaign, Alexander adapted to the changing circumstances, employing a blend of diplomacy and force. He often integrated local leaders into his administration, a move that not only pacified newly conquered territories, but also expanded his influence. Against all odds, Alexander managed to defeat Darius III and conquer the Persian Empire. His victories were not just due to his military prowess, but also his strategic acumen, his relentless determination, and his ability to inspire his troops. With the fall of Persia, Alexander established himself as a formidable power in the east. But Alexander's ambition knew no bounds. After the Persian campaign, his sights turned to lands uncharted by his Macedonian predecessors. Egypt, the ancient land of pharaohs, yielded easily to Alexander's might. Here he founded Alexandria, a city destined to become a beacon of knowledge and culture for centuries to come. But the sands of Egypt could not quench his thirst for conquest. The Indian subcontinent beckoned next. Alexander's soldiers, however, faced a different world here. They trudged through dense forests, crossed mighty rivers, and faced monsoons unlike anything they had ever witnessed. They battled against armies that rode on elephants, an animal most had only heard of in stories. Yet, Alexander's strategic brilliance shone through. Despite the unfamiliar terrain and formidable foes, his army often emerged victorious. But victory came at a cost. The men were exhausted. Their bodies, scarred from countless battles, yearned for rest. Their spirits, once ignited by the prospect of glory, now longed for the comfort of home. Meanwhile, Alexander the Conqueror had gradually transformed into an emperor. He adopted Persian customs, much to the chagrin of his men. He wore Persian robes, employed Persian courtiers, and even introduced proskynesis, the Persian practice of prostrating before the king. These changes, though seen as betrayal by some, were part of Alexander's grand vision, a unified empire where the East and the West were not just geographical directions but a blend of cultures, traditions, and people. However, the relentless march had taken its toll. His men, once loyal and steadfast, refused to go any further. They had followed their king to the ends of the known world, but would not venture further into the unknown. Torn between his unquenchable ambition and the reality of his army's exhaustion, Alexander made a heart-wrenching decision. He turned back. With this, Alexander's unstoppable march finally came to a halt. In 323 BC, Alexander the Great, at the young age of 32, breathed his last in Babylon, leaving behind a vast empire stretching from Greece to Egypt and as far east as India. His sudden demise led to a power vacuum, and the colossal empire he'd amassed through relentless conquest was left without a clear successor. The aftermath was chaotic. His generals, known as the Diadochi, squabbled amongst themselves, each vying for a piece of Alexander's vast territory. As the dust settled, his empire was carved up into several Hellenistic kingdoms, each ruled by one of his former generals. These kingdoms, though independent, were united by a common culture. And that brings us to the true legacy of Alexander, the spread of Hellenistic culture. Alexander's conquests led to an unprecedented mixing of cultures. Greek thought, art, and language spread far and wide, influencing societies from Egypt to Afghanistan. This period, known as the Hellenistic Age, saw an explosion in scientific and artistic innovation, with great advancements in everything from astronomy to sculpture. But Alexander's influence wasn't just cultural. His military tactics have been studied and emulated by countless generals since. His use of the phalanx combined with cavalry maneuvers was revolutionary. His ability to adapt his tactics based on the situation and his opponent showed a level of military genius that has been admired throughout history. In the end, the empire of Alexander the Great may have fractured, but the impact of his conquests has endured. The Hellenistic Age shaped the ancient world, laying the groundwork for the Roman Empire and ultimately Western civilization. His military strategies have been echoed on battlefields for over 2 millennia. In his short life, Alexander the Great reshaped the world, leaving a legacy that still echoes today. So, what does it mean to be great? As we've journeyed through the life and times of Alexander the Great, we've seen a young prince molded by the finest minds of his era, transforming into an unparalleled conqueror. From his early life under the tutelage of Aristotle to his ascension to the Macedonian throne, Alexander's upbringing played a crucial role in shaping his destiny. His conquests, vast and swift, forever altered the landscape of the ancient world. From the Persian Empire's heartlands to the fringes of the then-known world, Alexander's relentless drive for expansion set new standards for military strategy and leadership. His victories, though marred by bloodshed, speak volumes about his tactical genius and indomitable will. But Alexander's greatness doesn't end with his military exploits. His lasting legacy, perhaps even more significant, lies in the cultural and intellectual exchange that his empire fostered. The Hellenistic era, birthed from his conquests, saw a fusion of Greek and Eastern cultures, sparking a golden age of science, art, and philosophy. In considering Alexander's life, we grapple with the question of greatness. Is it measured in victories and territories or in the enduring impact one leaves behind? As we ponder this, we're invited to reflect on Alexander's life and achievements. Whether a hero or a tyrant, one thing remains certain. Alexander the Great, in his ambition and conquests, truly changed the course of history.